So good afternoon from Canada and also from the US with my friend from Winkle, Jeff. So I'm really happy to be on stage with you, Jeff, today. I know you have a lot of stuff to share with us. So we've seen also very good presentation today. So what I'll do is I'll let you prepare and get your presentation on screen. And while you're doing so, so Jeff will share with us some really impressive result you guys have done at Winkle Industries. So Jeff, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today. Appreciate it. A bit about myself. Name is Jeff Cleveland. I am a continuous improvement coordinator here at Winkle. It's been about 3 years that I've been with Winkle. Prior to Winkle, I had the opportunity to do a variety of roles, from operations, production control, engineering, factory automation, quality, project management, and of course, lean. So there are a lot of different roles. Kind of landed in continuous improvement role because it allows me to pull from my past roles and experiences and provide some guidance and do what I love to do, which is challenge people. And yes, the lack of hair or gray hair indicates that I've probably been doing this a while. So today I'm going to touch on our lean process that we've gone through here at Winkle Industries. What we started with was trying to rebound from a greater than 6 month past due backlog. So also with that backlog was a less than stellar on-time delivery, and we had to reduce our lead times as well. I'm guessing that most of you are familiar with lean tools. So today I'm mainly just going to talk about some of the experiences along the way, not so much on lean tools. I'm trying to get my screen to change here.
You want me to help you out?
There it goes. There it goes. A little bit about Winkle. Winkle has been in business since 1951 and provides custom industrial transfer, lifting, and brake products. We also have an in-house engineering group that can design just about anything you want, so we can build custom equipment. So our journey, as many of you have experienced with the pandemic, which created multiple obstacles for companies. For Winkle, multiple welders, fitters, machinists, and front-end people were lost. As the mask came off and business started picking up, staying up with the demand was quite a challenge. Probably a lot of you can relate to that. With the knowledge loss came the situation of excessive backlog, poor on-time delivery, and long lead times. That's where I come in. After struggling to make headway on the backlog, I was added to the Winkle staff to help with the problem and try to get the facility to start thinking lean. I apologize. I have to go back. Winkle's lean exposure was limited by far at that point. Yes, there was the occasional improvement exercise, but that was really kind of about it. Manufacturing would meet once a week. As far as all the department managers, which obviously is pretty poor for communication. The tribal knowledge loss created lack of discipline, chaos, and disorganization. After my initial observation, when I joined Winkle, met with the management team, and we kind of developed improvement plan or roadmap. The first thing we did was value stream the current process, which brought to light the issues at hand. Job releasing and material flow were the defined problems to be addressed. We started with 2 Kaizen events and later added some strategic planning guidelines to put in place. We started seeing the gains that we wanted on the backlog. Keeping in mind that 3 years ago or prior to coming, we had gross issues with material check-in, lack of organization with inventory. So along with those Kaizens, we implemented multiple processes that allowed us to have material check-in. You'll see people walking around the facility with tablets that they use to actually check the material in and put it in proper inventory, but also develop a kitting process that helped us immensely. Things started clicking, jobs were going out the door, the manufacturing floor was getting organized, we were seeing progress, and even hit some milestones for Winkle as far as weekly and monthly shipping goals, which was excellent. I was actually getting ready to run out and buy a lottery ticket at that point because the things were looking really good. But as everything, here's the but out of this. As we were getting close to our zero backlog, we weren't seeing the jobs come in, the new jobs come in. And so we started asking why is that happening? So we were quickly pointed out by our sales staff that the reason that we're having the issues is because of customer confidence, and it was up to us to make sure that we improve on our lead time, which was greater than our competition, and continue to reduce our lead time. So because of that confidence, issues with our customers, we went back to the whiteboard, or back to the drawing board as it's called, and time to value stream again. Kind of always the good place to start. Only with the recent process changes in place, we took that in mind, and that helped us a lot with this next phase. This new value stream mapping outcome indicated lack of focus for the actual customer due date, and material lead time were the next set of problems that we needed to tackle. Since the facility had been trying to dig out of the hole for so long, really due dates wasn't on a focus, and neither was the material on-time delivery, whether it was showing up on time, because it always did, because we were always so far behind. So simply, if you're late on orders, the focus just isn't, on, the due dates. It's just getting the product out the door. So we needed to refocus our efforts. Our first action from the value stream mapping was to implement what we call a shipping board. Some would call it a production board, a large whiteboard to make the WIP status visual. A simple implementation, but with solid results from it. For the first time, people were actually talking about being proactive, not reactive. The visual aspect was definitely a winner for us. This was refreshing, since the norm was just run around, firefight, do a mad scramble just to get the product out the door. Now, Winkle is really no different than any other company, and I'm sure this is relatable, but we're very stuck in our ways, always done it that way, that sort of thing. There was initial pushback. Then people started seeing the benefits and started embracing the change. So if you look at the screen, I want to point out there's a few differences on the two, what I call the original shipping board and the current shipping board. The original shipping board, I highlighted some due dates, and they were out of sequence. A little tough to see on that slide, but we were more trying to focus on when we thought we'd get it out the door. And by that was the start of the shipping board. To the right is the current shipping board, which is more in line with those little job magnets are on there on the actual due date instead of when we think we're going to get it out the door. So they're just like everything. There's a development as you go in a sequence that has really helped us out. So we went from looking at 2 weeks, now we look at 3 weeks on the shipping board. Trying to touch on, this is sort of some of the A3 slides actually. So looking at background and some of our current conditions, trying something new for Winkle, we decided to create 2 Lean A3 initiatives. One was an on-time delivery per customer due date, which is what we called the parent A3. And the second was a material lead time, which we call the child A3. The target on-time delivery set for 2024 was 80% on-time delivery and 95% trying to hit world-class for the end of 2025. You'll notice on some of these slides, yeah, our target is 95%. Our starting point when we went into this was 40% on-time delivery, which is obviously horrible. We're also lacking strategic planning for different product mixes. And although we were focusing on the magnet product that we have, there are different variations and complexity to the magnets. And scheduling wasn't looking at that. It was just kind of every job is the same, which it is not. These are other slides for and the analyst and analysis and recommendations. So we found that the A3s are great because they were simple. And out of everything that I can say from this facility is the collaborative energy that we got from the folks on the floor because they were wanting change was kind of an eye-opener for us. So I'm not going to go into every detail of the A3s, but a couple more things I'll point out from these is that to kind of paint the picture is we found that 92% of the jobs being released to the floor were missing materials. So they would start in production and stop somewhere along the way, which then obviously creates a havoc on your flow. Adding additional weeks to our shipping board helped, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. It just broadens that visual picture for us. And then we always, in the past, the Winkle's always looked at their releasing and moving in production on weekly buckets. As long as it moved every week, we were happy. But we needed to go to more of a daily scheduling so that we can keep better on track. To create even more visibility, we installed whiteboards in every department. These department boards not only display department width, but they also will display safety. We have a safety cross, personnel, training, equipment status, and labor hour information. Somewhat standard in advanced lean shops. I think we've all been to many of those that was done years ago, but for Winkle, this was a new concept. Winkle had not really kept up with modern day floor technology. These status boards are a big step for the facility. They simply drive communication was what we were really lacking. A huge benefit from these whiteboards is the ownership and personal development of each department manager, something that was sorely lacking. Managers now are required to create a daily plan and provide an update during the morning Gemba walk. Also developing training programs as well as department improvement plans. They found that 1 or 2 people would be off in a department and the flow of product would come to a screeching halt because we didn't have the proper people cross-trained. So they now are in a position where they have to provide us a training program for that. The Gemba walk starts at the shipping board and it stops at every single department. Every department head reports out their daily plan, and they actually have to have a plan on what they're going to do. And as manufacturing is, it's always a moving target, so they have to provide a plan every morning. Communication again has been key, and again, quite the transition from meeting once a week for an hour to now they're reporting out daily what's happening on the manufacturing floor. You may have heard the saying, you don't know how you're doing unless you're measuring yourself. So we also, as we were developing the whiteboards, we created simple logs to help identify issues like work stoppage, on-time delivery, jobs being released without materials, work stoppage, engineering or machining type issues. These logs will drive future development in manufacturing and purchasing. They're going to aid in the KPIs that we're now displaying throughout the facility and all around improvements. Probably the biggest impact that we have found from these logs is it just gets people involved. A lot you can do from your ERP system. We found that the simplicity of these logs, where they're actually manual logs, getting those people involved doing that is the starting point for us. Will they eventually go to more of an automated system? Probably, but right now it's keeping people involved. I mentioned our Gamma Walk. This has been key for us. It shows the presence of the department heads on the manufacturing floor, something that had never been done before here at Winkle. The Gemba Walk drives people to have the answers as well. No one likes to be that person that is standing there in front of all your peers and says, oh, I don't know. So we stress to everyone on that walk, not only just from the department manager standpoint, but everyone on that department head to have the answers, be informed of what's going on, and be able to follow up if they maybe don't have that answer right then and there, that there's follow-up. Keeping track of all the activities that we were doing and help stay on course with our plan, we populated a Gantt chart. The team reviews the Gantt chart weekly, keeping focus on tasking all the different tasks, completion dates, roadblocks, etc. A simple yet effective tool that has been around for a lot of years, but it still works well for what we were doing. Again, keeping it simple. All team members had access to this Gantt chart, and they had the responsibility to update their task and not just report out at the meeting. So this again was giving them ownership. To track our monthly unit targets, how many units a month, how many dollars a month for the goal, we put a graph there's a KPI board next to the shipping board now that the department manager, the production manager updates on a daily basis. And he actually will talk about not only how we're doing on a percentage basis, but a dollar value basis with it, and what units we have to push on a weekly basis to be staying with our goals, so we're not having this huge push at the end of the month. One last thing about making things visual, we color coded just about everything in the shop, from material bins, the small magnets that are on the whiteboard magnets throughout the shop and the shipping board are all color coded. On the department shipping boards, we have if there's a work stoppage, there's color coding. To even the job routers are color coded to, as you walk through the facility, if you see a bin full of parts, you know exactly what's in there because of what the color of the bin is. And then any procedure, which there has been a lot of procedures to follow up all the work we've done, are also color coded in the same scheme. I mentioned earlier there was a child A3 for the material lead time. Efforts with this A3 yielded some kind of surprising findings. Winkle's purchasing reps would place POs to our suppliers, but they would never specify the exact date that they wanted the materials to show up. And obviously that's an issue. You need to be supplying them an exact date of when you need those materials. Again, looking back prior, when you have a plus 6 month backlog, you're just worried about getting the product out the door. You're not worried about when the materials show up, because everything's late, so you have plenty of time. So it really wasn't their focus. This was a major contributor for the releasing without all materials. So as we gained ground and the backlog went down, we are now seeing that we didn't have materials. And then that causes a whole nother problem, which was work stoppages during the production is the main issue. Chaotic shuffling of jobs just to be able to keep workers going for what materials you have. A simple change to the RFQ and the PO documentation process, requiring all suppliers to confirm Winkle's requested delivery date, fix that. And still in process. We still have some challenges with some of our materials are needed for some of the companies down south that are dealing with the hurricanes here recently. So we don't necessarily receive our materials when we would like, but we understand that, you know, that's a priority for those folks down south. One of the big things that has come to light, and this is a work in progress, would be supplier relations. Was and it is still something that we're going to have to work on so that they understand how their deliveries impact our deliveries. As part of keeping up with materials, a material order status tool was created, which is the one on the screen with all the different colors, the yellow, green, red. We call that a material board. It's a simple spreadsheet displaying data pulled directly from our ERP system, and it's color coded. And the colors tell us that what you see in yellow is a caution for us that our materials aren't showing up when we've asked them to show up. And then obviously the ones in red are materials that are late. So another board that's in development, this will be next step for this will be put up on a big screen so everyone can see. And it's sort of holding people accountable for in purchasing that the materials come in when they should. So this Excel board indicates the requested delivery dates. If we have we've set some parameters for our vendors and have communicated this with them, that if they fall below 80% on-time delivery, then they'll be receiving a call from someone from the purchasing department, probably going to be the purchasing manager who reaches out to them, but it could be the buyer as well. We are also working on a report card system, which follows along with that, which is going to be used in the future for our suppliers. And they even have some more verbiage that has put out recently, just letting our vendors or our suppliers know what we truly expect from them. So referencing this slide, this is kind of a wrap up to say, you know, where are we now with all the work that we've done. So accomplishments from our on-time delivery A3s and what we've implemented as best practices. On-time delivery went from 40% to 75% current today. Are we close to our 80% for the end of the year? We are. And I think with what's remaining for November and December, we're actually going to be tickling the 80%. And that was our goal for this year. The backlog reduction from 6 months is down to 0 now. And that is only the current orders that we have in-house. The daily Gemba walk, very big in that it just drives communication. Again, I've said it a couple times, we went from 1 day a week, 1 hour a week of communicating in manufacturing. Now it's a constant communication on what's happening in each department. Increased KPI development. We are measuring everything that we do, almost to where it's painful, and actually displaying that so we know how we're doing. And that will be just growing. Be honest with you, the first company I've ever been with who didn't have a KPI board to look at. So we have some good gains coming. The increased accountability and ownership, which is huge from our department managers. They never really had to explain why things weren't getting done on time, or there were issues, or why things went right. So now we have some ownership on their shoulders. Improvement ideas. for a long time, we would hear nothing, or you get your pushback from folks. We are now seeing the culture change because people are stepping forth and giving us ideas. Us meaning the management team. And when you have folks wanting to give you ideas, then you're doing well. The culture change is happening. Proactive mindset. That's probably the biggest thing. When I say huge, as we're not running around trying to fix things, but we're looking ahead at the jobs coming. First time in a lot of years at Winkle here, they're actually looking at when the job first arrives in-house from the customer. We are actually doing an evaluation as the first day it comes through the door, so that we can be proactive in what we do throughout the processing. Reduction in stress and chaos has been key, and that's coming down every single day. You actually see smiles instead of the wrinkles on the foreheads. So the other is, if out of everything, is our happy customers. So we're starting to see the orders starting to come back in. Confidence is coming back up with our customers, and they're even okay with the slower, or a little bit longer lead times now, because they understand some of our suppliers are dealing with the folks down south and helping out there. So confidence is coming back, which is great. So cheers.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
So we still have a bit of time for a few questions. We got some questions here. Maybe let me read the first one I took note of. Is can you tell us a bit more about how you sustain or how you maintain your shipping board? Is there like a daily process? How does it work?
Yep, it's a daily process. Our production manager is tasked with updating the board, and he's probably at that board 5, 6, 7 times a day. So throughout the day, before the Gemba walk, he has updated it, moved all the small magnets around, updated the KPI graphs and sheets, but also updates where we are on our backlog. So that gets updated constantly throughout the day.
Okay. Here's another one. What this project changed for Winkle?
I think the major thing that I think it's changed is just focus. Before, when you're, as I mentioned, when you're that far deep into a backlog like that, you're just scrambling to get the work out. Now we're actually using the proactive thought, the focus on how can we make life better for ourselves or easier for ourselves as we process product. And you see much more of a team effort happening than with each department, and each actually helping each other out instead of just do for yourself.
Okay, so maybe we have time for another one. How did your suppliers react about asking for them for shorter lead time?
Some were actually fine. I think it's one of those things. Once if you don't tell them what you need, they're going to give you whatever their capacity is. We all have A, B, and C suppliers, and they look at us the same. So once we have, I would say half of our suppliers, when we went to them and said we need shorter lead time, but they're like, sure, I don't see an issue with that. So that was the easy part. We do have some vendors that are their capacity and their is limited. And what we're doing with that product line or materials is looking at other vendors. So some vendors can supply some materials, and some will supply the other materials. So that's how we've dealt with that.
All good. So we're about, we need to end. We're about done. Maybe you can share your contact information. If people have more questions, they can reach out to you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much.
It was great to be on stage with you. Good job.
Same here. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.